What's up, fam? I'm Ryan Milton from Team Flex. You're on my show I do every Tuesday, The Iron Palace, where we cover all things training. Today, we're going to dive in, going along with the train we've been on this week. Yesterday, we did nutrition. Today, we're doing off-season, improvement season training. The stuff you need to know to make sure that you're coming back to stage better than ever next year, okay? So we're going to talk about all of that. This is relevant to all divisions, by the way. You don't need to look for a specific wellness video or a specific men's physique or bikini, whatever. It's going to be the same kind of gist what I'm talking about today, and it will really change the game for you, all right? So at any point in time, fam, just a friendly little reminder, I do these all these videos for free just to give you content to help you out. I hear constantly how much people get out of these, and I really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel and then you share it, all right? Thank you. Let's dive in. So first things first, improvement season, off season. Just got to reiterate in case you missed yesterday's video, when I say these terms, they're interchangeable. Some people say off season. I don't really believe in an off season. Our athletes on Team Flex, we train 365 days a year through all different phases, all different, parts of the goal being achieved. Whether we're in an off season, we call it improvement season, all right? Or if we're in a prep, we're in a prep. But the point is here is we're always doing something. We're always goal focused, in other words, and that's actually very, very relevant to what we're going to talk about today in this video, all right? So improvement season training. First thing that you want to consider is really to start with your feedback, okay? Hopefully you have done a competition. If you haven't, I'll also tell you what to do in case you're improving now. To do your first competition, we'll cover both factors. If you've already competed before, you did a show where you got in front of a judging panel. It doesn't matter if you won the show, you took the overall, you got dead last place, you have been judged, okay? And that means the judges have sat at the table, they've scored you for your division, doesn't matter what division you did, could have been bikini, could have been wellness, whatever. They've judged you and they placed you. And so the most important thing you can do as an athlete is get feedback from the actual judges. The feedback from the judges actually will propel you forward into an improvement season and a future prep season so you can do better. Because let's not forget, even if you won the show, you want to go to the next level, right? Maybe it's time for nationals, or maybe it's time to compete your first pro show, maybe it's time to try for the Olympia. It doesn't matter. There's stages to all this, and you always want to make sure you're on top of judges' feedback. One of the biggest mistakes I hear all the time from people that are sending me messages asking me what I think about the division, all this kind of thing, I'll say, what did the judges say there? Oh, I don't know, I didn't stay, I didn't check. What? You got to get the feedback, okay, ladies and gentlemen? You can't always talk to the judges on actual competition day. Sometimes it's very hectic. The judges are doing a lot of things. They're not there to take your feedback or give you that feedback at that time, but they always have a way you can request it after the competition in that manner or whatever. Depending on the promoters, depending on the show, depending on the judging panel, they may have specific ways for you to get this feedback. Maybe they do say you can stay after and talk. Maybe they do want you to email it. Whatever. Follow their procedures and get your feedback from the judges. On Team Flex, I actually like to do this myself. I like to communicate directly with the judges and say, hey, how did our athlete do? What did you see? What do you want to improve? Because me as a coach, I'm designing the training, I'm designing the nutrition, I'm designing all this stuff where I really want to know exactly what the judges are seeing and exactly what we need to do, because at the end of the day, the athletes are doing the work, but I'm kind of the one guiding the process, masterminding it, if you will. So that's all important to consider. You got to understand those different ways to get your feedback and follow that process and make sure you actually do get it. Do not go to a stage, no matter if you got first place, last place, fifth place, I don't care what place you got. Always get your feedback from the judges, because that's going to be what transforms you to do better next season. Let's talk about the next round of feedback you can get when we get back. 1, 2, 3. possible, like I said, get the feedback from the judges no matter what. It's going to change the game, because now you and your coach, you can sit down and you can say, all right, here's what we got to improve. We need a little more shoulders. We might need some more back. Maybe it's glutes. Maybe it's hamstrings, whatever. All different for all different divisions. The judges will tell you. Maybe it's posing. You know, you hear some crazy stuff sometimes in feedback that can very easily be improved and dramatically change your placing. Now, what you would want to do then is take your feedback and apply that to improvement season. And we'll talk more about that in 1 second, but I want to make clear for anybody that hasn't competed yet, you can still get feedback. You just get it from your coach. If you have a coach that is qualified, they know what they're doing. They're not, you know, a random Instagram coach with 5 followers that say they're doing meal plans. You know, some of that stuff's out there, unfortunately. But if they're a coach that's actually put athletes on stage, athletes have done well, and you know that they know what they're doing. Well, when you hire a coach, you should be able to get feedback from them right at the gate, and this is part of their process. For me, it's part of my process. Any athlete I bring on, any athlete we bring on Team Flex, period, goes, you know, through a consultation. They're getting consults, they're getting assessed in check-in pictures, they're getting assessed in body stats. We're assessing all around so we can design the best program. Also, you know, taking goals and specific timelines for competition, everything like that into consideration. So if you get a coach that is qualified and knows what they're doing, then it should be very easy to get that feedback from them and thus apply it to what we're going to talk about now, which is the actual improvement season. You know, this is off season, whatever. Improvement season can happen, obviously, if you've done a show and now it's time to gear up, make improvements, do another show, or if you even haven't yet, you have improvements to make prior to getting to stage. And the training, here's how it works. You have to have the training cater to the areas that need to be improved. It sounds kind of, you know, rudimentary when I say it that way, but really that's what you need to focus on. If you went to stage and the judges said, hey, you got to round out your glutes more, that's how you're going to do better here, well then your improvement season needs to be focused on doing exactly that. Now often it's going to be a lot more feedback than just that. Sometimes you're going to hear, you know, variants of things. We need you to bring your shoulders up. We need you to improve your hamstrings. We need to improve every division is different. Every class is different. Every competitor is different. And so depending on even the judges you get in front of, your feedback could be different, and what needs to be improved could be a little bit different. But the point is, either way, this improvement season, why I call it improvement season, is because now it becomes a targeted goal. The goal may have been to do a prep before, or maybe you want to do a prep, but the goal now becomes, hey, it's time to actually focus on improving. This goal is improvement now, so that I can go back, do better, or do my first show and do great, right? That's really what we're doing in this sport all the time at every level. Is we are doing more, getting better, taking feedback, doing more, getting better, taking feedback, doing more, getting better. And that's really where it kind of ties all together, is that this sport is always growing, there's always improvements to be made. It's kind of crazy that this sport really does not have a finish line, okay? I'm kind of going off on a tangent there, but let's reel it back. We're talking about your training matching what needs to be improved. And so you got to really make sure you're following a program that's going to cater to these areas. And it's not as simple as some people think. I know that a lot of people, you know, will say, oh, the judge said I need bigger shoulders, and they're going to just go hammer shoulders, going to do a bunch of exercise. Hey, you don't actually know in what context that means, right? When the judges give you this feedback, they oftentimes won't even get it down to specific muscle groups like that. They'll more say you need to improve the lower body, you need to improve the upper body, you need to bring this up, change that, all that. This is, again, where the coach comes into play. The judges are judges. They don't coach, all right? They're not out there coaching. They're not coaching you. So in other words, they're judging, and they're saying what they saw on stage. How you actually get the next look that they want to see on stage really more so does come down to your actual coaching approach and what you're doing and how focused that is. I'm going to tell you how to focus that right, how to train that right, and how to come back 10 times better next time to the stage, or get there 10 times better the first time right after this break. Again, the judges, they're judging. They know what they want to see. They know what they can tell you. They're not going to tell you how to get it. In other words, they're never, I've talked to judges probably thousands of times in my career now, honestly, and I've never heard once, yeah, they need to do more stiff leg deadlifts. They need to do more lat pull down. They need to do more lateral raises. They don't do that. That's not the type of feedback you're going to get. You're going to get feedback that says, probably one of two things for the most part. It's either going to be bring this down or bring this up. And so bring this down type feedback would be, oh, the glutes need to come down, the legs need to come down, the midsection needs to come down. That's often more of a conditioning thing. So you need to actually bring your conditioning in, and sometimes the judges will even say that to you. They'll say, yeah, conditioning's off, you need to lean out more, come back leaner, you're going to do better. And so that's one type of feedback. Get smaller, lose more weight, burn more body fat. That's basically what that means. And sometimes they can say that in a context where it sounds like muscle, but most of the time it's going to be actual body fat and conditioning that will make the difference. Sometimes you hear too heavy in the glutes in bikini or something like that, and a lot of times all that requires is actually getting a little bit leaner and keeping the muscle development there, and it's right there on the money now. The next show is way better placing, better feedback, everything all around from conditioning, right? Another type of feedback you will get is bring it up. Feedback, bring it up, not conditioning. Don't bring your conditioning up. Bring up your muscles, in other words. So you're actually getting into the spot where now you need to improve a certain muscle group. It could be your shoulders, could be your glutes, could be anything, where they say, yeah, we want to see you have a little bit more upper body. We want to see you have a little more shoulders, a little more chest, a little more back, a little more glutes, a little more hamstring, quads, whatever it is. All divisions different, all physiques different. This means now you got to bring this up. The way you do this, though, they're not going to tell you how to do either one of these things. They're not going to tell you how to lean out. They're not going to tell you how to, build muscle. They're judges, ladies and gentlemen. They're judging. So you can't really just take their feedback and go, oh, I need to lean out more, do more cardio, do more cardio, do more. That's not necessarily always going to be the right answer. Sometimes it's change in diet. Sometimes it's less cardio. Sometimes it's, all different factors that come in doing this exercise this way to bring out this part of the muscle versus that, and so on and so forth. And that's really why having a coach that guides you through your improvement season, your off season, as some people say, can be massively beneficial. Going back to what I said yesterday, it can change the entire game for you as a competitor to have an actual coach, somebody that knows what the judges are looking for, keeping an eye on you and shaping you out that way. Athletes should be able to go to work and do the work. You want to be your best athlete. You don't want to be sitting there thinking about what exercise is going to do this, how much cardio you got to do for that, where your macros should be for this. All these things are not things you want to focus on. Athletes don't do that. That's what coaches do. Coaches sit down and they think, all right, where do we need to put the macros? What exercise do we need to do? Bring that lateral delt head out a little bit more. Maybe we need to tweak this posing. How are we going to do that? All these things are coach things, ladies and gentlemen. So when you get the coach that knows what they're doing and tells you how to do it, follow the damn coach's plan. All right, don't change it. Don't go off of it, and don't try to do off-season improvement season on your own. Don't do that. Get yourself a coach that will go with you 365, just like we do on Team Flex, because I will tell you that makes the biggest difference. As I said yesterday, and I'm going to say it again today, the best stage physiques, the champions, they're made in the improvement seasons. That's when you make all the muscle developments. That's when you really get the shape. That's when you get the size, the proportion, the development. Everything you need to be your best competitor happens in those phases. So it's kind of, an oxymoron in a way that a lot of people only hire a coach for 12 weeks of prep, and the rest of the time they're doing what for the rest, of their off season? They're doing whatever they're doing, but in reality, the best physiques are going to be made when you're training all the time for a focused goal, targeted goal, all right? So we're going to come back right after this break. I'm going to tell you the last bit of what you want to know about your improvement season training and how to really apply it. I'll tell you what, it's going to make you better, all right? Be right back. The final thing I got to say about this improvement season is we've covered a lot here. We talked about the feedback, so important. Get the feedback, all right? Do that. And then you got to figure out what the feedback is, how to apply it to your training, what to fit in, what exercises. Is it nutrition? Is it training? This is why you should have a coach for this. I'm telling you guys, don't do the off-season improvement season on your own. It's just not even worth it. You're not as serious of an athlete as you could be if you had a coach, because you'll be able to work 10 times harder as an athlete if you just are told what to do with everything and you don't have to sit there and second guess, think about about it, move all this and that. I'm telling you, it's a nightmare. Don't do it, okay? If you get to that point now, here's what you got to understand. The final thing I want to say in this video today, and I hope it's been helpful. If it has, please subscribe, please share. I'll be back tomorrow as usual, all right? The final thing I want to say, though, about improvement season is do not go back to stage until improvements have been made, all right? And if you're a first-time competitor, don't go to stage until you have the right improvements made. It's pretty simple, but here's the problem. Everybody in this sport wants to go back to stage as soon as they can. They want to do 5, 6 different preps a year. They want to do all these and that. They want to get here. Oh, okay, by spring, in 3 months, I want to be here. I want to go to the show. I want to do this. I want to do that. Here's what the problem is. If you don't give yourself ample time to make improvements, you will make no improvements. You're not going to make improvements in a week. You're not going to make them in a month. You're probably not going to make them in 3, 6 months for some people. Sometimes the improvements that you have to make are so substantial, you might need to take an entire year in an actual improvement season phase before you can return to the stage. And we see this a lot at the higher level. We see this with, pros doing that. We see this with top national level competitors doing that. Amateurs oftentimes can do shorter improvements because they're basically just getting in the groove. They're just getting started. It's less competitive at the starting stages than it becomes at the top. That's a given. So reality though, you can't go back to stage without having made the improvements. Otherwise, you're setting yourself up for the exact same process, right? Definition of insanity. It's doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, right? That's literally what so many competitors do because they get so hungry for the stage and they're so off the wagon in a lot of ways. Competitors, you always hear about them falling off of their diet, falling off of their training post-show. We talked about nutrition yesterday. You can watch that video too, and I covered a lot of that there, but you hear about this, and it really comes down to that you didn't have a focused goal. You didn't set a good goal in the improvement season. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're training for. You don't know why, because your coach probably doesn't even know, right? He didn't tell you, didn't explain it. Sometimes they don't, and you got to really understand that you need a focused goal all the time. And if you know what you're doing, you know what your improvements are, you should take your improvement season just as serious, and I would say maybe more than you do a prep, because that's going to be what really propels you forward, gets you better placings, takes you further in the sport than anything else. You do not want to rush back to the stage too fast, too soon, too early. Otherwise, here's what happens. You go right into your diet phase for your prep, and now you're dieting again. We already have talked about you can't make improvements in the actual dieting phase itself, right? You literally can't do that. So now you're setting up to do, 12 weeks of a diet. Well, you're not improving. And then you go back to the stage, judges say the same thing or similar things. Placings didn't really improve. Nothing really got any better. And now you're doing it again. And you just wasted more time. So it's way better, ladies and gentlemen, to stay in your improvement season, train hard, do the reverse diets and things I talked about yesterday on yesterday's video, and continue to improve your physique. Make sure you've made all the muscle gains, all the shape changes, all the improvements all around that you need to make to come back to stage and do better. And if you do that, I guarantee you will do better. And a lot of times, I'll tell you what, it's a coach that's got to know when you're in the right spot and telling you when they're ready. Because I'll tell you what, all my athletes that I coach want to rush back to stage. They want to do the next show in 4 weeks. They want to do the next show in 2 weeks. They want to hey, this sport is progressive. You're not going to be your best competitor overnight. You're not going to be your best competitor in a year in this sport. When you become your best competitor is when you realize that this sport is a lifestyle. It is a lifelong sport. We got masters people competing everywhere around the world these days. And the people that are the best, the people you all look up to, the ones that, are the Olympians and all that have been at the top, and we can all think of them, they did it for years and years and years and years and years. And today, in this world of social media and everything else, it's almost lost. The process of bodybuilding is lost. And the idea that you need to, rush back to stage, you need to do better, you got to do this, you got to do it instantly. No, you don't. Sometimes the best thing you need to do is take an improvement season, improve your physique, and then you'll come back and you'll do a lot better. And you'll have done it in years, faster than most people that keep doing too many shows and doing everything else and making no improvements. All right, so I hope that was helpful to you today. If you want any help with your improvement season training or anything else, go to teamfflex.com. We have a 7-day free trial. I'm sure you've seen it a few times in this video now. Anybody can do it. Happy to show you. Happy to set you up. Anyway, please subscribe. Please share. I'll be back tomorrow for First Callouts, show where we talk about everything competing. Talk to you then. Thanks for watching. Coach Rye is out.